Hello, I'm AJ,
I'm Alex.
and this is NTVN, New Tech Vintage Nerds. Today we're going to talk about pfSense. What is it, why you want to use it, and what you can do with it. But first, roll an intro. So, before we go to talk about pfSense, what did you automate since last time?
Automate us. Well, you answer the question. I'll think about it.
Okay. Well, actually, I didn't automate anything. I did tweak some light scenes a bit. Some of the lights didn't go off, so that it was a bit difficult. Then I had to push a button, and I don't like that. And thing that I want to do is fix the shades. Our shades don't function anymore, and I don't know why. That's one of the things that annoys me a bit. It worked, then we get an update and it stopped working.
That's
So I'm not
annoying.
sure why.
That is annoying.
Yeah. So did you think about something already?
Well, actually, I didn't automate anything. I did troubleshoot one flow actually, and I created a failback flow that when Homey sees that it doesn't have internet or Wi-Fi, it will start a timer and will check again after 5 minutes. If it still doesn't have internet or Wi-Fi, it will automatically reboot.
Okay. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I know that. I understand that there is a large risk on a false positive here. For instance, when I'm working on my internet, then Homey starts rebooting every 5 minutes. So there's something to remember. Maybe I don't know. Enter an extra variable, maintenance true or not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's see if it works.
That's actually a good idea. I use them also override switches. So
Yeah.
then you can make sure that it only happens when you want it, or that you can disable it
Yeah,
if you're doing maintenance.
exactly. Well, I'm planning to introduce a couple of buttons, and actually, I'm looking at Button Plus. So if you go on internet, type button.plus, and you'll see a wonderful project by a Dutch guy who lives in Groningen. There
Oh,
you go.
that's nearby.
It is, and he created a very nice button bar and display for home automation. This is actually, well, it was born out of a community I'm part of, and um, he just decided that he wanted to do that, and actually went through the whole process of crowdfunding and then going to China and looking for a way to get this produced in some mass production system, and actually is now selling them.
Nice.
So you can buy them directly from his website, and they're not very expensive as well for the fact that you actually get a button bar with two OLED displays integrated and a full color LED on each side. So it's a very nicely designed, very well done.
Oh, nice.
So I'm planning to integrate. Well, I already own two of them, and I plan to integrate a couple more.
Okay. So are those Wi-Fi based? Because I want to
They are.
segue to the next topic.
They are Wi-Fi based, and they use MQTT.
Okay. So you need a good, stable home network.
Indeed. You need a stable home network, but it doesn't require internet because it's local. But talking about pfSense,
Yeah. What is it?
what is it? Well, pfSense basically it's a software router in FreeBSD. In short, so
That's
if you're
short.
not familiar with operating systems, in the world we have Windows and we have Linux, and well, FreeBSD is a sort of I know I'm going to hurt some people's feelings now. FreeBSD is a sort of Linux. It's not, but it's similar. They both have a Unix background, where BSD is a taste of Linux or a way of working in Linux, and FreeBSD tries to keep up with the way BSD was built back in the day and the philosophy that it had. What is the big difference? Well, the big difference with Linux is that, well, it's sort of different in the way it's built up. It's a bit more stable. It has a bit of a different write system, not completely, but it works a bit differently to Linux, and this is mighty important when it comes to routing. It is very stable.
So it's stable for a router, but routing what? What's a router?
So what it does is basically, if you look at when you buy an internet line, right, you get a box from your internet provider, from your ISP, and that box connects you to the internet. And a lot of the times, that box also has Wi-Fi integrated and gives you um, usually fairly crappy Wi-Fi throughout your house, and it tends to have a 4 or 5 port switch integrated for a couple of wired connections that you can add to that, and then it has some form of uplink to the internet. So depending on whatever your internet connection is, if you have cable, if you've got DSL, if you've got fiber, if you've some people even have real copper fiber copper internet. But also, if you have a wireless ISP in your neighborhood because you've got crappy wired internet, but somebody a couple of miles back has good internet, you often see that they have a wireless ISP, a local wireless ISP, or well, also, for instance, Starlink. The Starlink dish comes with a built-in router. Well, not built-in, but with an attached router. And obviously, you can plug in a 4G or a 5G stick as well, and have that as an internet. So there are all forms and ways of getting internet connection into your home. And what's generally, there is a box, and that box protects your home internet, your home network from the internet. Because obviously, if you want to have your laptop connected, you don't want to have your whole laptop connected. You just want to be able to use the internet, but you do not want to expose your laptop to the internet. And this is where those devices generally come in. They've got a built-in firewall and a built-in router. So the router makes the connection work. So you can route your local network, the packages that you request from the internet. So if you look at a web page or want to check your email or whatever, that device makes sure that the data comes back and forth from the internet, and the integrated firewall makes sure that your network is your network and the internet is the internet, and those two stay separate. So you do not publish everything that's on your laptop to the internet, because generally that is not a very good idea.
No.
No, sometimes in the past, somewhere in the past, we did some tests with honeypots and unprotected Windows machines, connecting them to the internet to see how much time it took to get them compromised. And I
Yeah,
can
that's
tell
not
you that
long.
is very not very long, and it is fairly impressive how soon people find an unprotected system on
Yeah.
the internet.
You just said you get a router from your ISP.
Yes.
So why would you use something from yourself then?
Well, and here's the kicker. Generally, those boxes are massively underpowered. And like I said, with the integrated Wi Fi, give you crappy Wi Fi. And also, a lot of those boxes are very limited in what they can do in terms of functionality. So if you look at, for instance, if you want to run a private VPN, so you want to be able to tunnel into your home network from wherever you are, when you're on the road or on vacation or whatnot, and you want to have a look at the security camera that you've got hooked up to your network at home.
I would like
There
that.
are exactly. Well, a lot of people do. So that may be a challenge with the device that you get from your ISP. Right?
Mm.
Oftentimes it doesn't have any VPN server, or it does. It's got a pretty crappy support. A lot of the times, those things don't get updates, so they are buggy, insecure, not working, or only partially working. Yeah, there are all kinds of issues with it, and fortunately, the EU has passed a law which forces ISPs to allow the general public to actually bring their own modem
Yeah.
and bring their own router. Well, bring their own router mostly, not quite your modem. But that may be challenging. So you're allowed to actually bring your own router by law, and they have to facilitate that. It's not really enforced, but a lot of ISPs now just allow it anyway. And I know there are a couple that do that. Well, make it difficult, let's say, but generally it's allowed. So the advantage of bringing your own router is that, well, first of all, you can build your own. You can just go to I don't know, your nearest computer shop or media market. I don't know,
Yeah. Target.
whatever, and just buy one off the shelf. Generally, even the ones that are advertised as very modern, the what's it called, Black Hawk, the TP Link thing.
Yeah.
That thing's got a CPU in it, an ARM CPU from 2012.
Whoa.
Yeah. So in terms of performance, that's ridiculous,
Yeah, but why do you need all that performance? I mean, you're not running applications on it or virtual machines or
aren't
something
you?
like that.
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Well, you're not running. Well, usually you're not running virtual machines on it or containers, but a lot of applications you actually do run on your firewall, like a VPN or like I don't know, an HA proxy, or maybe like a DHCP server or DNS server or
Yeah, all kinds of functionality
all kinds of functionalities. Right.
that normally
So
your internet modem does from your ISP.
exactly. Not to mention that a lot of those routers, if you have, for instance, 500 gig or 500 Mbit internet connection or 1 gig internet connection, if you really push that needle to the limit, those boxes, they cannot process that amount of data traffic.
No.
So that is an issue, right? I mean, you pay for a 500 megabit internet line, and that thing is just simply not able to process the amount of traffic goes through. So things just simply underpowered, right? So this is where it may be very interesting just to look into, how about I just buy something different? And well, if you can buy something, you can also build something different. And this is where pfSense comes in. So basically, you can buy a pfSense box. There are pfSense boxes for small, medium business for home use. They're commercial ARM based systems, and you can get a support contract with them if you like. They are generally fairly robust, and most of them will fulfill the standard home need. But what if you're not a standard home like we are? Right? We have our home automation, have home lab, home hosting, unit, whatever. Actually, we have two ISPs over here because both my wife and myself work from home a lot of the time, and you do not want to be dependent upon a single ISP because when they decide to have maintenance and run into an issue and be down all day, I cannot work all day. That's unacceptable. So we have two ISPs and we can load balance between them. But if one goes down, we just go continue work on the other one.
What a luxury.
It is, but then again, it also saved my ass a couple of times. So I'm very happy that I have that. If you go and look for a router that's capable of routing two different internet service providers, there are very few. But pfSense can, and it works like a charm. So there is maybe a downside. If you buy a router off the shelf, generally those things are they run on with a power brick and do, I don't know, 12 to 20 watts mostly, and that'll be it. If you build your own, it tends to consume a bit more. And I really mean a bit. So I built a box based on a Xeon E3 CPU.
Mm.
It's got, I think, 16 gigs of RAM right now, which is massively oversized. But I had it, and it runs off a mirrored SSD drive. I think it's at 128 gig, which is also massively oversized. But it's, well, first of all, it's reliable. Second, I can decide which image I want to boot at any point in time. And if one drive breaks, I'll just replace it, and nothing is happening really. The thing is, it will consume roughly 40 watts.
That's a bit more.
It's a bit double of what you would have with a cheap off-the-shelf router. But, and here's the kicker, I've got a dual port 10 gig network card in there, and that thing, I can push that thing to the limit and nothing happens.
Okay. So do you got 10 gigs internet then?
I've got 10 gigs Ethernet. I don't have 10 gig internet
Oh, okay.
yet. But in our region, they're already experimenting with 2.5 gig.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a 1 gig router, you're already in problem.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So basically, I'm just future proofing whatever I have in there.
It's nice.
So, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say that's nice. Being able to actually use two internet providers with two different types of network.
Yes.
I mean, the only thing we have here is cable and something called telephone. So it's
Yeah, sort of DSL.
yeah,
You could go Starlink though,
yeah. I could.
but that's about 200-ish euros a month. Well, I think now it's not that expensive. The consumer line was about 100.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But then the latency is a bit more than the regular internet connection.
It's not that bad, so I'm told. It's roughly in the 10 millisecond range.
Okay. Oh, that's not too bad
So 10,
actually.
10, 10 to 20.
That's almost the same as my cable.
It's not. I mean, it's not what it used to be, like seconds
Yeah.
of uplink. So the Starlink satellites are in the lower orbit, so they've got
Oh, yeah.
better response times. But they said the dish will set you back about 600 euros, and then you've got a 100 euro monthly subscription fee. So it's not cheap.
No, then I'll stay with cable and hope that somebody throws a fiber into the ground.
So what I'm using in this pfSense box is there's a cable internet connection on one end, which is 400 megabits down and something up. I don't know.
40 up probably.
Could be. I have no idea. And there is a synchronous 1 gig fiber connection on the other port.
Oh, cool.
So both are in a single routing group, and they have the same. Oh, the fiber one is the primary connection. The cable one is the fallback connection. But they when the router swaps the connections because one is down, you don't notice.
Oh, wow.
The
That's pretty nice.
we can we've cut the cable completely, so the television that we're watching is all online internet. We can be watching television. The so the fiber can go down, the cable internet will pick up, and we will never have noticed while watching TV.
Wow.
The switch over is that fast, and the buffering is that effective that you will never notice that it moved from one connection to the other
Nice.
and back as well.
So, would you say that your home network improved by using pfSense?
It definitely did, and let me tell you why. I've first of all, and I can recommend that to everyone who is a bit of a hobbyist. One of the best practices that you can do with your home network is segment it. Start using VLANs. If you don't know what that is, I think Tom Lawrence has got wonderful explanations on how to do that. He's one of the experts on pfSense anyway. So if you're interested in pfSense, I highly recommend his videos on pfSense. Basically, if you have devices like televisions, cameras, any other kitchen appliances. I wouldn't know why you want to have them on internet, but I know that there are devices that actually come with Wi-Fi enabled. Please, please, please put them in a separate Internet of Things VLAN. Make sure that they stay in there. They can't get to, for instance, your laptop, your PC, your telephone, your tablet, whatever. Make sure those are separate because your security will thank you. So many of those devices are crappy with updates, are having issues in security because they use poor security that not secured by design anyway, or never get an update after they leave the factory. And basically, I mean, it's wonderful that your washing machine or your oven has got Wi-Fi, but if someone from the internet with bad intentions can use your oven or your washing machine to piggyback on and get
Yeah.
into your network, suddenly it's no fun anymore.
No, no. The same goes for solar panels.
Most
Those
definitely.
things come with firmware or with web servers that are, well, they're broke by design. They're unsecure by design.
Yeah, yeah.
All
So
the
this
same
is where
network.
pfSense is wonderful. You can create VLANs in a snip. Um, and just route that through the same interface. That's no problem. That's the advantage of having a VLAN. And lock that VLAN down. I mean, I've got, I don't know, 6 or 7 VLANs. I've got one for my work PC, which is not connected to anything else but the VPN to my work. And there are no other devices in that network anyway. I've got an IoT network that is connected to the internet. I've got an IoT network that is not connected to the internet. I've got a camera network, which is separate again, which is not connected to the internet. All kinds of best practices in terms of security. So if you want to try and compromise my camera, good luck with that. You can't get to them.
That's
There's
a new
no way in
solution.
hell you could get to them.
Okay.
The only device that can get to them is the Ubiquiti network video recorder. That thing actually has one port connected to the network where the cameras are, and the other port is connected to the normal network where I can just watch the videos. But
Hmm.
if you want to directly connect to the camera and do anything with that, not going to happen.
In one of the previous episodes, we talked about networking, like I said, Ubiquiti, and also about doing things from command line or preferably not. I used pfSense in the past, and it's a steep learning curve. Why would you choose that on top of the box from the ISP that's clickety click, it's working, I don't have to do anything? I mean, it's all good and well that you have more speed and internet connections, but I mean, simplicity is something else that a lot of people prefer. I know we're tweakers, but
No, that's true. And I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. I mean, if you're not into network, I mean, yes, pfSense has got a learning curve. And if you're not have an affiliation with IT or networking or security, then this may not be for you. Just stick to the box that your ISP got you, and just make sure that, well, change the default password, please. Please, folks, do that. Don't leave it. And also, I mean, if it works, it works, right? I mean, a lot of people are happy with it. The thing is that a lot of times you see that the demand inside of a home changes. The kids get older, they get a mobile phone, they go to a room and they don't have Wi-Fi, and everyone complains. The Wi-Fi isn't working. I've got no signal. I've got no performance. Okay, what do you do about that? Well, you hook up another access point. Oh, now I have two access points. I've got two networks. That sucks. When I walk up the stairs, I have to connect to a different network. Okay, that's not handy. What if we put access points throughout the house? Okay, so now we have the same network everywhere, but now I have to route that to the internet router. Maybe that thing does only has 4 ports, and then you run out of physical connections. So you have to buy a switch, and it goes downhill from there.
yeah, I know. If you look behind me, there's also a small utility box with all kinds of cool networking
Yeah.
stuff. And people ask, well, isn't that stuff you get from the internet provider good enough? It it is
It
good enough.
depends. It depends. The router I received from my internet provider will not allow me to load balance between a fiber optic network and a cable network. So that was one big reason for me to start building my own router. And like I said, there are devices from Netgate, the producer of pfSense, and they sell wonderful devices, and they've got a terrific support on them. So if you're not comfortable building your own, there are options to just buy a box with pfSense on it, and it's not that it will just serve you a blinking cursor on a black screen, and good luck with that. It has a wonderful web interface, but you do have to know what you're doing, right? It's not very
Intuitive.
beginner friendly.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I used it. I did know what I was doing, but I had some things that were unexplainable, probably because of the hardware. So I switched back to something, well, actually from Ubiquiti. So it just works. I like to tinker, but my internet connection has to be stable. It just has to work.
Well, I have had no issues with my pfSense box whatsoever ever since I've installed it here, which is 4 years ago, actually 6 years ago. Now that I come to think of it,
Time
um,
flies.
it does. Ever since I installed it, it's been flawless.
So, are there things that you want to improve upon within the pfSense area?
So I know that some stuff is just command line based, and you can get to that from there. But what would be nice is the statistics are not easy to interpret. Let's put it like that. You get a
Mhm.
front page and it has a couple of statistics, but that is fairly limited. If you're troubleshooting something, or if you want to know, what did this station do on my network or on the internet or whatever, finding that out is not easy. It can be done,
Mhm.
but you have to know your tools, and you have to know pfSense, you have to go through diagnostics and search the station, and know know the MAC address, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it would be wonderful if they could improve upon that. Just up the security posture a bit. Some stuff is not easy to install. I've got a DNS filter on. It's called what's it called? PF something. I can't remember. I'll put it in a link in the show notes. But you can subscribe to different lists from backlists and DNS block lists, and getting into false positives there is very easy. Locking yourself out in that perspective is fairly easy. So in terms of next gen firewalling, that would be nice. And I know that they have support for Suricata, and they've got support for Snort. Um,
Yeah.
but those are pretty heavy packages and very difficult to configure. You really have to know your stuff. This is on the edge of what I can do.
Yeah, and they're memory intensive.
They are fairly variant. I've got Suricata running, but it's in warning mode still after 4 years,
Mm.
because I do not trust it enough to enable it on my external connection.
Okay.
If there is something going on there, then it will probably end up in mayhem if that thing gets to control.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I would love to see a bit more user friendly tooling in that perspective.
Some
Then
kind of
again,
workflow. I want to achieve this, then you can do something like that.
that would be great. If you just implement an assistant where you can say, I want to secure my network from I don't know, DNS filtering, yada yada yada, and
Yeah.
it would just do it for you, right? maybe with a little help of AI, like we discussed in the previous episode, it, it would be very beneficial for that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Seriously, it could benefit insanely from that. Specifically because, well, something is a threat or it isn't,
yeah.
and it would be easier to implement AI on that in that perspective than to have it create content, actual content.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I would say that that would be something that I would welcome very much. Um, Other than that, I'd say I'm a pretty happy camper when it comes to pfSense.
Yeah. So are there things that you want to do in your house then with pfSense that you don't do already? Like you
Um,
have two connections. Would you think about CARP, the whole failover method for pfSense?
no, that would be too complicated for here. That would be too much. But I would like to use an HA proxy, for instance. I haven't looked into that yet. It's got HA proxy integrated, but I'm still experimenting with that. How to implement that. Specifically, put it in front of my the stuff that I'm hosting. So I'm not sure about that yet. Anyway, and I think that's mostly it right now. I think the network is fairly secure. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with the performance. What I would like to do in the near future is to replace the current box that I have with something a bit more modern, which uses a bit less power. And I've seen a couple of wonderful boxes actually coming out with two 10 gig NICs already built in,
Okay.
and based on the internet and the Intel M100 or a bit more a bit bigger CPU with a lot less power. So that thing runs something around, I think 12 watts.
Okay. That's pretty low.
12 and 20. So that's very good. And it wouldn't run on SSDs, it would run on NVMe drives
Hmm.
as well. So even less power and even more performance.
Yeah.
In
Which
a,
you
in
can
a, in
use
a,
for Gen AI because that's uses a lot of power.
exactly. So yeah, and that in a tiny box that would definitely tickle my fancy. So that's something that I may look into. But I noticed that those boxes are actually roughly around 600, 700 euros.
Yeah.
So that's quite an investment. Then again, like I said, this box has served me very well over the past 6 years. It's an Intel Xeon E3, I think a V6.
Hmm.
So this is it's I think it's barely DDR4. It may even be DDR3 now that I come to think of it. Yeah, it doesn't matter for. I mean, it's a router, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Um, but in terms of performance, it's. I noticed that when I put the box in BIOS in full performance, so in high performance or in eco mode, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
There is no difference in the power in the power consumption at all.
Strange.
So I just put it in high performance.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, the internet responsiveness of the router was actually noticeably better when I put it in high performance. It wasn't bad when it was in eco mode, but it was noticeably quicker when it was in high performance mode.
So looking at back at the last 6 years with pfSense, would you do anything different if you had to start all over again?
Yes, I would not buy the Chelsea card, and I can happily disrecommend that.
Okay.
Yes,
Love
and
story.
well, no, well, not really. You may or may not know, Chelsea is a network card company, and they build wonderful devices. But I had an issue. I bought a dual port 10 gig card. Um, Generally, FreeBSD, and so also pfSense has got wonderful support for Chelsea. I ran Chelsea 10 gig cards in my FreeNAS core, which is also based on FreeBSD.
Yeah.
And they did a wonderful job there. But this card in pfSense in a 1U box, it overheated so quickly. And it started doing all kinds of strange things, dropouts, wouldn't connect to the internet, wouldn't connect. I had all kinds of very strange problems.
Mm.
So what I did basically is, good old Intel, get me an Intel. I think it's a 550X card which is in there, with a dual 10 gig SFP on the back, and that thing is rock solid. It runs like a charm.
Okay.
And next to that, the machine still has four 1 gig ports on board as well. So I could do something with that, but I don't.
Yeah. Well, integrated lights out or something like that.
It does have IPMI, yes. So that's an even separate port. So one of the 1 gig ports is connected to the cable modem. One of the 10 gig ports is connected to the fiber, and the other 10 gig port is connected to the 10 gig LAN.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, as the cable network doesn't go over 400 megabits, it didn't make sense to
No,
run an extra 10 gig line to that.
no, no. Mine does a gig right now, I think. So I start looking at a new interface. So we know a lot about pfSense now within your home network. What would you advise to somebody that is considering pfSense right now? Well, don't buy Chelsea, but um, what would you recommend? Where do they start, or even before they start?
If you have the opportunity to run a pfSense box virtually, do that.
Hmm.
Start tinkering with it, get to know it. You can easily create virtual interfaces where you have a virtual one internet and a virtual LAN network, and just get to know how you can create firewall rules, get to know the NAT terminology, the routing terminology, so that you get familiar with the box, and then buy a small box, buy something that fits your need, right? If you've got, I don't know, 200 megabit cable, don't buy a box with 10 gig. That's ridiculous, right? That's massively oversized. Buy something that suits your need, install it, and start tinkering with it. You do have to remind yourself it needs at least two network connections. So if you buy something off the shelf, an Intel NUC, or well, Intel doesn't make them anymore, but I think Asus bought that.
Yep.
Yeah, they didn't, did they? So I think Asus has got boxes with two NICs on him. It will consume not a whole lot of power. You can run pfSense on it. It will probably work, and you will be amazed. I am sure.
Okay then. Well, now you know. Just use pfSense. Start using it. So I think that's a wrap for this episode. Thanks for listening. If you want to know what we're talking about next time, just look at the blog, or I can tell you right now, we're going to talk about social media, what we
Oh
do
wow!
with it, or what we don't do with it, and why we do or don't. So thanks for listening, and see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.